Tonight on CTV, car shortages might leave consumers in the market limited on choices and what you need to know about the upcoming construction on lemay and Vine.
Plus, with the recent opening of the Cannabinoid Research Facility, find out what the facility plans to take on first and has been given the green light on 10 studies.
Good evening and welcome to the Thursday Night News Show. I'm Kenneth Frederick.
And I'm Natalie Devereaux, filling in for Weston Hubbard. The anticipation and excitement could be felt in the air as students once again flooded the halls of CSU for the start of the fall semester. But for some students, the celebration could be over just as it's starting.
1,300 students who previously failed to submit proof of vaccination or file for exemption by August 18th received a no trespassing email from the school barring them from campus.
You don't comply with what they, think is the right thing to do, then, tough luck. You're not going to class.
This came as a shock to many students who didn't think the school would or legally could impose such sanctions.
I really got angry because I was like, I pay you guys so much money to go to school here.
The email informed students the ban was effective immediately until May 16, 2022, or until they submitted the required forms.
I think if they are not vaccinated, they have a responsibility to get tested because you have to make sure that you're not infecting others unknowingly.
But some say they were confused by the correspondence sent out by the school, and that is why they failed to initially comply.
I'm not standing up for something bigger, I just didn't know about it.
CSU sent out several emails leading up to the August due date informing students on what needed to be done before classes started, such as instructions on how to upload proof of vaccination and practices unvaccinated students would adhere to. At this time, no COVID-19 vaccine had been FDA approved.
It doesn't feel right to take this one yet.
Since communication starting in May about vaccine requirements, the school has stated they will be allowing exemptions for medical, religious, and personal reasons.
And I've yet to hear someone give me a good personal reason. I think the data is overwhelming that it is, effective and safe.
If a student chooses to remain unvaccinated, they must get a COVID test twice a week, and failure to comply is followed by an email from student conduct.
And so I was in class, just sitting doing my thing, and it says, if you were found on campus, you can be cited or arrested. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a fugitive.
Although exemptions are allowed, some students feel there's a bias towards them and worry how they will be treated if their status is known.
I actually chose not to reach out to my teachers because I was honestly afraid of, backlash.
More questions are being raised at the validity of the policies towards enrolled students when large events like football games are taking place where no tests or vaccines are required to attend.
I think it does show the university's hypocrisy when it comes to things that make them money.
There are concerns as to why only unvaccinated students must be tested when there are breakthrough cases within the vaccinated population.
Our president here, she got vaccinated and then she had COVID.
Students also voiced their disapproval of the polarizing political climate around the vaccine.
A guy with a cowboy hat or, in my outfit, they might just be like, oh yeah, he's definitely not vaccinated. And these are all the things that he believes.
As of now, the school says they are unaware of any COVID transmission spreading through, quote, academic contact, such as in the classroom, unquote.
A request for the school's comment on the emails was sent out, but at this time there has been no response.
With the ongoing shortage of workers, we're continuing to see the supply chain issues, and the newest industry to be affected by this is the automobile one. The supply chain that produces cars is a very complex one because of how many moving parts are involved. One of the essential pieces are microchips, which newer cars have thousands of. Microchips are predominantly produced in Asia, but they're not able to keep up with the demand. This shortage is not predicted to end anytime soon due to shutdowns in factories related to COVID-19. With this in mind, consumers might need to shift their buying habits and selling habits. If you're looking to purchase a car right now, your first choice may not be available. Many consumers are having to settle for other options, such as making repairs, buying from our alternative dealers like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, or sourcing vehicles from other states outside of Colorado.
Starting Tuesday, traffic has been rerouted on Lemay Avenue to make way for construction crews working on the new overpass. This is near the Vine and Lemay intersection in northern Fort Collins. People using Lemay Avenue to go north will be redirected onto Buckingham Street until they rejoin onto Lemay. Drivers heading south will take this route as well. This is all part of the $24 million overpass project that is expected to be finished at the end of the year. The overpass is the start of a project to realign the avenue in order to alleviate traffic at the railroad crossing that is currently at Vine and lemay. The city is asking drivers to use caution and follow the detour signs.
Fort Collins is looking to solve the 3-mile transportation gap that runs between the Foothills Campus Transit Station and Colorado State University. This stretch of road is known as the West Elizabeth Corridor, and, fittingly, the project has been deemed the West Elizabeth Transportation Project. The plan will focus on building infrastructure to support all modes of transportation, including a rapid bus service. The city aims to provide a safe and efficient route for nearly 24,000 residents along the corridor.
Would you like to have a say in the next city manager's priorities and even who they should be? Well, the City of Fort Collins is having a public forum on next Thursday. They are hoping to get community feedback on goals and characteristics of the ideal candidate. This will also be a chance for residents to find out what the city manager actually does. The city is hoping to have its final interviews and public opinion in late Q1 to early Q2 next year. Stick around, Rams, and say goodbye to the 70-degree weather as we move towards the 60s.
That's next on Weather, here at CTV 11.
The ceremony was a blast. It was just like this surreal moment of my dreams are coming true.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said, "Oh, I apologize. She won't be taking you in as a client."
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
And sitting there in that small, cold room, I wanted to cry, just thinking, what did we bring this kid into?
We're simply asking to treat our family the same way that you would treat any family.
What's up, Rams? I'm Cameron Evick filling in for Morgan Gardner to give you all your weather news. Let's not waste any time as we get right into our current conditions right now in Fort Collins. As you can see, 38 degrees outside, getting a little bit chilly. The moon rise was just a couple minutes ago at 6:56 p.m. A waning gibbous tonight, and there's some light winds out there, but nothing to be too afraid of tonight. Moving into our overnight lows. Looking at the corridor, 38, 42, 37, and 35 in Fort Collins, Denver, Springs, and Pueblo, respectively. On the west side, Craig at 26, Vail at 33, Grand Junction over there at 38, Gunnison down at 18, and Telluride at 33, which is kind of warm for them at this time of year. Other side, looking at the east side, Sterling up at 32, Burlington at 36, and Lamar tonight going to be at around 32 degrees. Going into tomorrow's forecast, all throughout Colorado, 72, 73 for Fort Collins and Denver, Springs and Pueblo at 72 and 77. A state high tomorrow there. Just kidding, Lamar over here at 78. Burlington up at 76. Limon going to be 73. And then going to this other side, a little bit chillier as it usually is. Craig at 66. Vail at 59. Telluride at 33, that's more like it, Telluride. 63, 67 for Gunnison and Grand Junction. Moving on to tomorrow's forecast, 72 degrees is going to be the high with a low of 40, so could be a warm one tomorrow. Mostly sunny, sunset's going to be around 6:09 p.m. with the winds coming from the east-southeast 8 miles an hour and the north at about 5 miles per hour. Last but not least, getting into our 5-day forecast this week for all of Fort Collins. Looking at Thursday, going to be about 66 and 39 for today. Tomorrow, 72 degrees with a low of 40. 67 and 41 on Saturday. Sunday, a chance of some light snow with 64 and 35 being your low. And then Monday at 70 and 41 degrees. Not getting there just yet, but we know it's coming. That chilly weather will be around the corner. That's all I got for you, Rams. Be sure to stick around for some more news and for sports later with me.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, the commitment, the drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume, discover new ways to develop great talent, like me.
Welcome back from the break.
Thanks for joining us.
Diversion programs are pre-trial sentencings that are aimed at diverting people away from prison time and into things like education, restitution with victims, and community service. Larimer and Jackson County's district attorney is expanding the program to adults with qualifying offenses. The crimes that will not be offered a diversion program include high-level felonies, traffic violations, and incidents of domestic abuse.
In 2015, the city of Fort Collins set some of the most ambitious emissions reduction goals in the country. We've not only accomplished our 2020 goal, but have surpassed it. By 2020, emissions were supposed to be down by 20% of the baseline that we set in 2005. We're currently down by 24%. The decrease was possible because of renewable energy projects, reduced driving due to the stay-at-home orders and COVID impacts, and reductions in industrial processes and products used with emissions. The city's goals from here include being down 80% by 2030 and being completely carbon neutral by 2050.
National Transfer Student Week started October 18th and will go till the 22nd. The week is used to recognize the accomplishments of transfer students and university staff who supported them. This semester, CSU gained over 100 students in its STEM department from Front Range Community College's Wolves to Rams program. The initiative is designed to help students looking to transfer to CSU and graduate with a degree in STEM. Wolves to Rams is funded by the National Institutes of Health and the National Science Foundation.
The Panacea Life Sciences Cannabinoid Research Center had its grand opening on Tuesday.
Madeline Roach was one of the students responsible for the creation of the research center. After her work with Panacea Life Sciences, she helped with the ordering of equipment that the lab would need. She's been impressed not just by the work others would get to do for the company, but for the insight she and others would get into the industry.
We as graduate students can get an idea of what's going to be in our future.
The research being done here is not on the well-known compound THC, but on over 140 other cannabinoids that can be found in the hemp plant. Now that the center is open, 10 studies have been given the green light. They range in pain relievers for pets, fighting stomach ailments, and appetite-suppressing cannabinoids.
All of this is thanks to a $1.5 million donation from CSU alumna and CEO of Panacea Life Sciences, Leslie Butterworth, who donated the money in order to give cannabinoids some scientific clout.
In the first year, Butterworth and the university are hoping to get fully set up and get students who are interested in the research. After that, they hope to focus on the research for the commercialization of cannabinoids. Buttroff cited the creation of Gatorade and how it was a model for what her and the university hoped to achieve.
Gatorade was created by University of Florida. We want to create a CSU product that is known like everyone knows.
For now, though, the center is just getting off the ground, and students from all over the university are welcome to come if they expressed an interest in cannabinoid research.
CSU is now one of 2 universities in the country to have a research center for cannabinoids. You know, I think it's just a really cool idea that we may someday have a product as famous as Gatorade.
That is so cool. I had no idea, and even when it was playing, it said Gatorade. I was like, what does that have to do with it? But it was really interesting to learn about.
Never made the connection between the Florida Gators and Gatorade.
I can't say I have either.
Well, that's on the horizons for CSU.
Well, Rams, that's all the news we have for you tonight.
But stick around for the latest on sports as Cameron Eving has his pick for the CSU-USU game.
And later, join Tom Isaacson as he looks at the opening of Post Chicken and his hunt for ghosts in entertainment.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
All G.
You all right, girl?
You cool?
You bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them.
Go on, Kelly. Seize the awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
What's up, Rams? I'm back, but this time with sports. Welcome to another week of Cam's Corner. I'm your host, as always, Cameron Evig. CSU football has been rolling recently. See what they have to do against an explosive conference opponent tomorrow to keep racking up the wins. Plus, another CSU squad that you may not know much about is also playing well. So well, in fact, they're playing for a conference championship next weekend. I'll give you an inside look at Rams rugby. All that and more coming up on Cam's Corner, kicking off right now. After a game like that, like I predicted, wasn't even really close against New Mexico, CSU football is still on top of the Mountain West Conference. But to stay there, they're going to have to do more than wipe the floor with a 2-5 opponent who hasn't won a conference game all year. And it starts this weekend when they travel to a much better opponent in Utah State. To be honest, this might be the toughest opponent the Rams faced all season, besides South Dakota State, of course, who have literally blown out every single team they've played, and the only L that they have is against a 5-1 Southern Illinois squad in overtime. Granted, they don't play the toughest of opponents, but now I'm getting off track. Moving back to USU, they're off a sluggish dub against a now 0-6 UNLV, but they did hand Air Force their only loss of the season in a 49-45 shootout a couple weeks ago. The player to watch out for on the Aggie squad is no mystery to Mountain West football fans. It's wideout Devin Tompkins. Brother, what can I say about this man? He has 50 receptions for 819 yards, which puts him at 5th in all of college football, just by the way, and 6 touchdowns. This guy is a legitimate cheat code. Now, I'd usually say the key to the game is stopping him, but seeing how our secondary has played against good teams this year, there's no shot CSU can do that. If they want to pull out this dub, Todd Centeo and the crew are going to have to figure out a way to outscore this Utah State offense. And that shouldn't be too hard, considering Utah State has given up 27+ in all other games but one this year. The Rams are a better overall team from top to bottom, and I'm riding with Colorado State dub come Friday. And now, although seeing CSU's football's new winning ways are great, there are a lot of squads on campus that have a much longer history of it. And this one in particular is looking for another major milestone when it comes to their winning ways. Next Saturday when they play for a Mountain West title. Let's meet the nationally ranked Rams rugby team. This is the CSU rugby team, and after their impressive win last Saturday night, they will go on to play BYU next weekend for the Rocky Mountain Conference Championship. And although the Rams are used to their winning ways on the pitch, the bond off the pitch is nothing short of a brotherhood.
It does give you a true sense of family. You get really close bond with all your teammates. You go out to war with them on the field, and then afterwards you're best of buddies.
Though you develop friendships and bonds in other sports, rugby seems to take it to another level.
Rugby's all about family, right? The camaraderie around teammates.
Violent tackling and scrubs isn't the only thing that rugby has to offer. Many learn lessons that they use for life.
Some of the valuable life lessons that I've learned, structure, just general respect, the sense of family, that's kind of led me along this life path.
After a long season of hard work, it's clear they're ready to ruck and roll into the championship game next Saturday. Cameron Evig, CTV. After that, all I know is that BYU is in for a battle come next weekend. Moving things right along, it's time for another edition of Ram and Ram Play of the Week. For this Thursday, CSU soccer player Kristen Noonian gets my pick for the honor. Scoring 2 goals last Sunday in a win against UNLV on Senior Day, which included, of course, the golden game-winning goal to propel the Rams to a 2-1 dub against the Rebels. Now, that's a great way to score your final goal at the Rams soccer field, if you ask me. And now, here's my play of the week, and who better to give it to than the Ram of the Week herself? Looking at Noonan, here is that golden goal we talked about. UNLV looks like they're going to get possession of this ball, but Noonan fights, gets possession. There's the strike, bottom left 90, an absolute beaut coming from Noonan, and the celebration is on. CSU Soccer takes that dub. And well, Rams, that's all I got for you tonight. But make sure to stick around to be entertained by one of the best in the business, Tom Isaacson. And I'll see you next week.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Welcome back, Rams and Ram fans. My name is Tom Isaacson, and as you know, I'm here to give you your Thursday night entertainment wrap-up. I always say we have a full show planned for you, but I really mean it this time. So, let's jump right in. And tonight we start with some awesome local food news. In Fort Collins, the Post Chicken and Beer is now open. Available for both dine-in and takeout from 4 to 9 at night, with lunch services expected in the coming months, the restaurant fries up crispy Colorado-style fried chicken with amazing craft beers from around the area. This sounds like something I'm going to have to definitely check out. I love fried chicken. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in ghosts? There's no evidence to suggest that they exist, but there's no evidence to suggest that they don't either. So that's why I went ahead and did something called a ghost tour.
Fort Collins has a myriad of fascinating and somewhat chilling ghost stories. So that's what I wanted to learn more about in this spooky season, with local historian and author Susie Riding and Victor Molskowski, an expert in the paranormal. They took us on a tour around Old Town Fort Collins, and this was our first stop. So I'm currently standing in the basement of Bojo's Pizza, which, not that exciting. But there's a lot of paranormal activity here, apparently. On previous ghost tours, they've had pictures of spirits and apparitions appearing in the background. So they've dubbed this corner of the restaurant Creepy Corner. Fascinating. This was just the beginning. The tour went on to our next destination, Happy Lucky's Tea House, where we were told the story of Jack, a prisoner in solitary confinement who died of malnutrition and whose spirit has refused to move on and continues to haunt the place. But don't just take my word for it.
And I was doing some other stuff upstairs, and I heard like a super crazy loud crashing noise. So I called my friend, because I was a little nervous at that point, and I was just like, hey, I just need to like chat with someone. I just had this weird experience. She was like, you're not alone. And she had heard a male talking like from the speaker in my phone, and shared that with me. I didn't hear the voice, but she said she heard very clearly a man's voice talking.
From there, we hit even more spooky destinations. Illegal Pete's, the story of the only man ever hung in Fort Collins for killing his wife, who still haunts the area to this day. But none of it was quite like the experience of walking into the basement here. Walrus Ice Cream.
We were closing the store, and I went into the basement to get some trash bags, and down this pretty spooky hallway, I heard a bunch of like footsteps, and I got very spooked and like bolted upstairs and like ran all the way to the back of the store.
Famous for allegedly being haunted by a gamut of different spirits, Susie took us to the basement where Victor had us take part in a seance, which went well.
You'll see it.
And then finally, having us also take part in a real ghost investigation, which, while we might have found trace elements of electromagnetic signatures, it appears that the ghost was a bit camera shy, to say the least.
Well, that was quite the experience. If anything, I'm thankful for the excellent storytelling, but the whole spooky atmosphere within Walrus or Bojo's Pizza was just exquisite. I cannot overstate how much fun I had on this ghost tour. But with all of that said, we need to go...
Wait, Tom. You can wrap this up, but we have more ghosts to bust. You have to join us with CTV Geeks.
I'm afraid no ghosts. All joking aside, that was an amazing experience, to say the least. If nothing else, it was a fantastic way to hear amazing Fort Collins history. Real big shouts to Susie and Victor for making it such a fun night. All right. Thanks to brilliant reporting by my co-host Cam, you are obviously all up to date on the fall weather. But what's fall without the falling leaves? And many might be wondering what to do with all of these leaves. Fort Collins citizens have a lot of ways to recycle the leaves cluttering their yard and driveway. There's the Timberline Recycling Center or the Larimer County Green Waste Program. The City Council is urging people to not blow or rake leaves into the street as it can clog storm drains. But one of my favorite memories growing up was always making a giant leaf pile. Oh, to be young again. And with all of that, Rams, we are out of time. Thank you for joining me tonight for your entertainment wrap-up, and don't forget to watch the sports show on Monday. My name is Tom Isaacson. Good night.